Flying in the skies of Metropolis is Superman, being seen by the citizens. The second season of my adventures with Superman kicks off in this take in a true up and away style, but right off the bat promises many twists and revelations about the Kryptonians. Stay until the end of the video to check out all the details of these first 2 episodes, in this complete analysis with spoilers. Welcome to Comic Chronicles. The second season has started off very well in my opinion, especially in further developing the relationship between Lois Lane and Clark Kent. But before we dive into the details, if you're a Superman fan and want to stay up to date on everything about my adventures with Superman, leave a like on the video and subscribe to the channel. We will bring analyses of all the episodes of the second season, and to not miss any video, you'll need to subscribe to the channel. Episode 1 begins with Clark having a dream with Jor-El, who said that there is another Kryptonian alive. Soon after, we see Clark preparing for his first Valentine's Day with Lois, while Lois Lane is worried about her father, who was kidnapped by the X Task Force at the end of the first season. Over at the Daily Planet, Perry White arrives saying that no one will be celebrating Valentine's Day, and then we see Jimmy, who became a millionaire with his YouTube channel, quickly diminishing his wealth with wasteful spending. The animation highlights Jimmy's expenses, which will surely lead to him losing his money at some point due to poor financial management. Lois discovers a lead through her friend at Star Labs, who says a meteorite crashed on Earth 12 hours ago. This friend of Lois is named Hank, and this might possibly be a reference to cyborg Superman, whose real name is Henry Hank Henshaw. We already know from the trailer that Alex is actually Lex Luthor, so now the expectation is to see him bald. Clark, Lois, and Jimmy head to Antarctica to investigate the meteorite crash site. There, Clark sees Jor-El, and as he chases him, Clark gets separated from Lois and Jimmy, eventually entering the Kryptonian ship. Jor-El finally communicates with his son, mentioning that the Universal Translator needed some time to function, but now they can finally communicate. Jor-El reveals that Krypton was destroyed because its people got involved in a war, and this detail brings a different element to the story of Krypton, adding a mystery surrounding who was responsible for the downfall of their homeworld. I believe Brainiac or Darkseid are responsible, as we have seen that the Brainiac in this series is like a mix of Brainiac and General Zod, and we also see that several Kryptonian robots were destroyed, seemingly by Darkseid's Omega sanction. Jor-El mentions that Clark's cousin, Kara Zor-El, is alive but lost somewhere in space. Jimmy and Lois enter the ship but are soon pursued by the protective robots on board. Unfortunately, Amanda Waller and her team were also on the ship, but it starts to collapse due to the kryptonite effects. Superman goes to Lois and Jimmy to save them and confronts damage. During the fight, they discover the kryptonite on the ship, and it is at this moment that Waller and Slade discover Superman's weakness. Slade tries to extract the kryptonite, but Jimmy and Lois manage to hide the fragment. Superman regains his strength, Jor-El regains control of the ship, transporting everyone away except for Waller, Damage, and Slade. The ship transforms into the Fortress of Solitude, with a visually refreshing take on it. Jor-El bids farewell to his son as the kryptonite effects corrupt the ship, leaving it powerless. But before that, he mentions that Clark can still find Kara through the ship's communicator that landed on Earth over 20 years ago. The episode ends with Clark taking Lois to see the Northern Lights to celebrate Valentine's Day, and she asks Superman to save her missing father. It's revealed that Slade has kryptonite in his sword, and Brainiac is coming. Episode 2 starts with Amanda Waller making breakfast for one of her prisoners, Sam Lane. Waller wants to get General Lane to reveal something to her, as she is convinced he is hiding a secret. Out in the streets of Metropolis, Lois and Clark argue about Lois' father's whereabouts, and at that moment, a boy recognizes the reporter couple and asks them to contact Superman to let him know that his father, who worked at the Stryker prison library, disappeared after asking many questions about the disappearance of several prisoners. Clark says he will help the boy, and they soon head to Stryker Island. At the Daily Planet, Jimmy Olsen struggles to lead his team. Perry White chuckles when Jimmy says his interns don't listen to him, a funny moment recalling when Jimmy, Clark, and Lois were interns in the first season, doing the same thing. Back at Stryker Prison, Superman and Lois break into the facility only to find it empty, but they discover a hidden elevator shaft in the walls, leading to another humorous scene where Lois jumps off a ledge for Superman to save her. They find out it's an operation base for Project X, and upon reaching the monitoring room, Kal-El discovers the communicator he needs to rescue his cousin Kara. Lois worries about the potential consequences of Kryptonian invasion on Earth. Meanwhile, Waller tries to extract information from General Lane, who remains unfazed by Amanda. He asserts that the X task force is still his, believing he has everything under control and will eventually regain command. Superman and Lois find him, but Sam didn't want to be rescued, leading to a confrontation in the base corridors. Clark and Lois argue about Clark wanting to find his cousin, highlighting her trust in him but also her concerns about Earth having another Kryptonian. This conflict will likely be further explored in the season. Waller sends Atomic Skull after Sam Lane. The three escape but end up where all the missing prisoners were being kept. They discover these prisoners were subjected to experiments by Amanda Waller, including the boy's father from the beginning of the episode. The future of these experimented prisoners remains to be seen in the upcoming episodes. Superman is angered by this and frees the prisoners, while Sam is surprised by Waller's actions, realizing she has no ethics. Superman faces Atomic Skull as everyone escapes. Soon, Jimmy appears with his team on a rented boat and evacuates everyone from Stryker Island. The Superman vs. Atomic Skull battle was intense but quick. Superman defeats him, retrieves the Kryptonian ship's communicator, and helps the prisoners flee to the boat. Lois talks to her father and asks him to stay with Clark and Jimmy, a perfect opportunity for Sam to keep an eye on Clark, as he had spent the entire episode blaming Clark for endangering his daughter by going to the prison to rescue her. Sam is still unaware that Clark is Superman. The episode ends revealing that Lex Luthor was hired by Amanda Waller. The standout of this episode undoubtedly is Amanda Waller, who received substantial development early in this season. Here she remains true to her characterization in the comics and other adaptations, solely caring about United States security, no matter the cost. These episodes were enjoyable, especially the parts involving Superman and Jor-El, along with the interactions between Clark and Lois Lane. The series has a lot of identity, but the biggest criticism lies in the design of the villains, which I agree with. All the villains presented so far have a heavy tech-based design, straying from the distinctive looks in the comics or other DC animations. This stands out as a negative point of the series, as the animation has a unique identity. Furthermore, some viewers dislike the lack of more Superman action moments. In my opinion, what truly defines the quality of Superman stories is the atmosphere along with a good narrative. While action is important and a significant factor in his stories, the overall vibe is what has always characterized Superman. The animation's biggest flaw rests with Warner for releasing these episodes in the early hours of Sunday. This was a poor strategy, compounded by the company's lack of promotion for the show, with only a trailer dropping a few days before the premiere and no subsequent marketing efforts. Their marketing strategy was quite off. Many people were unaware that the second season had been released, a major oversight. Despite these issues, I am excited to watch the upcoming episodes, especially for the moment when Supergirl will make an appearance. Now, I want to hear your thoughts. Did you enjoy the start of the second season of My Adventures with Superman? Do you like this animation? Write in the comments, like the video if you enjoyed it, subscribe to the channel, and enable notifications to stay updated on everything about Superman, DC, and Marvel. Thank you very much, and until the next video.